All right, here is the Razer Huntsman Elite. I'm gonna give you my thoughts on this keyboard as a gamer, but not a keyboard gamer. And we'll get thoughts from my son, who has used it for gaming and programming. And more importantly, I've had this keyboard for almost 2 years, so I have some thoughts. All right, today we have the Razer Huntsman Elite opto-mechanical gaming keyboard, and it has the purple keys.
It's purple.
Let's open this bad boy up and see what's in the box. Oh, this is a different little pouch up here. I've never had a Razer keyboard. I've never had a mechanical keyboard, so I'm interested to try this. Even though this is opto-mechanical, it's still very different from what I would normally have. You got a little dual plug-in action. Also, you got to plug in both the wrist rest, and I thought they connected together somehow. Maybe they do. Oh, it does. Yeah, the wrist rest plugs into the controller keyboard. That's nice. All right, so they make it with purple switches and red switches, I think. And then purple, I think, were more clickety-clackety. And I really didn't know because I've never had either one, as I said. So there's some heft to this guy. So first, top-notch packaging, right? We have this hard, it's like a hard styrofoam sort of. I don't know what to call it necessarily. You have the plastic covers for the keys itself. Keep dust out of there, which is nice.
Well, that's nice.
And then the keyboard has this very nice wrist rest. So this one, it's definitely not leather. It's like, I don't know what to call that material. It's nice though, it's soft. I also picked up this padding for the mouse armrest, and shockingly, they're very different. They're similar in size, which is nice, but the material is different. Like this is a little more memory foamish, and this is more, I don't know. I really don't know how much this is gonna get used, because, I mean, I guess we're gentle on it, but you can feel this cold metal here, so. But I guess it helps because the keyboard's so loud. I'm rambling. So you can see there's this little connector here that would just magnetize in to the keyboard, which is nice. Of course, it is wired. Can't remove it. It's gonna take 2 USB-A ports. Okay, one for the keyboard and one for the lighting. It's weird. You think they could do that with one USB-A? I don't know why you need 2 separate ones, but I guess you do. Like I said, I never had a mechanical keyboard before, so I don't know what it's supposed to feel like. Do like it. I use the Logitech MX keys. When I do like typing on these, I feel like their keycaps are smaller. Obviously they're taller, but none of these function keys have anything assigned to it. This F9 has an M on it. The F10 has like a G with crosshairs on it. I don't know what that is. F11 and 12 appear to be brightness of the keyboard. Print screen, standard, insert, delete, home, end, page up, page down. I love separation of the arrow keys like this. So here, there's like a C and a 1 and an S and an M, and then that G button. I don't know what this M and G do. We'll find out later. There's also 3 buttons here and like a little dial here with a button on top as well. I assume this is going to be a volume knob, which I like. If this is a volume knob, you can make this play pause, then I would 100% love that. Let's see the keyboard here. Like I said, it feels a lot smaller to me, oddly enough. I'm used to the Logitech MX keys, just about same width, but you can tell the keycaps are a lot bigger on the Logitech than here. Also, my battery died in the middle of this, so I had to swap it out. While I'm doing this, if you never had a keyboard that makes these kind of noises, and when someone else is doing it, it sounds really annoying. But when I do it, it's all right. So here is the Lenovo Ultra Slim keyboard. Also, yeah, I mean, the tops of the keys are way bigger than these, so that would take some getting used to. That was actually one of my biggest complaints of the Razer Blade Pro 17 that I had, was the keys were small. So I have gigantic hands. My friend Tony has tiny hands.
Oh, no.
And he likes Razer keyboards, so that makes sense. This is actually for my son, so he would probably, his little baby hands will be okay as well. You can see this is pretty much the standard keyboard layout. If this, like us, is going to be your first mechanical-ish keyboard. Certainly our first Razer keyboard outside of the Razer laptop series. Personally, I use this because I like switching between multiple devices, but we'll see how this works. I am intrigued. It is bonkers to show how the difference in size here, even slimmer with the Lenovo Ultra Slim. So that's pretty crazy. So my Logitech does have a wrist rest here. I do find it to be particularly small. It matches up very nice with this one, but it is interesting how much bigger this sets up higher than the keyboard, I believe. Not really relevant to this video, but it is my son's birthday, so all these shenanigans, he's gonna go Razer bonkers. If you wanna see what the whole chappelle looks like, we're gonna have the Razer Huntsman Elite, Firefly B2, and the Ballistic Ultimate, and wrist rest. I just won a game right there. And actually, although I might steal this one, Razer wireless charging pad. And if you really want to be crazy, we got Razer Anzo glasses. A lot of stuff. All right, we gotta move all this over to the computer, get it all synced up together, make it look awesome, and then we'll see how it works. All right, so here we are past the unboxing. We're here back in present day. It is September 3rd, 2023. I purchased this back in December 2021. We probably didn't open until January, so it's not quite 2 years. I mean, which obviously it's not 2 years, but maybe a year and a half we had with it, right? Again, I'm not someone that just bought this, opened up, made a video, and then returned it. Actually, I don't even think Razer even sells it anymore. Amazon sells it, but I don't think Razer sells this particular model. They have a couple different Huntsman versions, but this particular one, the Razer Huntsman Elite gaming keyboard, I don't think they sell. This was actually my first ever gaming keyboard. And again, I bought it for my son. And as in the actual video we just showed probably with the unboxing, as soon as I started using it, I was like, huh, that's kind of nice. Maybe I want that. And then I did buy one, but not right away. First, I got the Alienware keyboard, then the Logitech MX mechanical keyboard. I had Alienware laptops with gaming keyboards, and I bought myself the Black Widow V3, which I'm still using to this day, and I like a lot. Now I have a guest here. It's a monkey I raised and taught to speak. So let's see what this monkey is like. So I don't actually use this keyboard. My son uses this keyboard. I'll show you the full setup in a little bit, but for now, let's just talk about the keys. All right, so this was your first mechanical keyboard?
Yes.
You had the Lenovo super thin. So it went from like the thinnest keyboard. I guess Apple Magic Keyboard is probably thinner, but outside of that, that Lenovo is probably the thinnest keyboard I've ever seen. Did it take you an adjustment to typing, moving from a thin keyboard to mechanical keyboard?
Not really, because I was using other keyboards at school and stuff like that, so I was just used to different heights, but I definitely like the clickier feel better than the mushy feel.
Yeah, and I will say, if you haven't used a mechanical keyboard, the noise is one thing, but when I'm using the keyboard, the noise doesn't bother me. When he's using the keyboard and I hear it click clacking, I find it very annoying. If you're annoyed by other people using the keyboard, I don't think you'll be annoyed by yourself using the keyboard. Even though he is a monkey, he is advanced like myself, and we use controllers for gaming. Most specifically, his go-to controller is the Razer Wolverine. He uses that pretty much every time he's gaming. But he did briefly, against my better judgment, he did start gaming mouse and keyboard, primarily on Fortnite.
Yeah, Fortnite and a little bit of Rogue Company too.
What about the Apex?
No, when I started playing Apex for a little bit was around the time I went back to controller.
All right, so he uses Fortnite. What season you start?
Chapter 1, Season 3 in 2017.
So yeah, so 6 years just about of playing Fortnite.
I wanted a little challenge and I used the keyboard instead of the controller now.
Did you think you got good with the keyboard?
I was improving, and then I stopped like right when I was about to actually get good. But if I wanted to, I for sure could have.
All right. Ignoring his hubris, I would say the keyboard, most Razer is mostly known for keyboards, so I would imagine that is. You can see it's dirty. We did try to clean it, but we're not great at cleaning stuff. All right, so these buttons, he particularly noted that his favorite thing about this keyboard, or one of his favorite things about it, he does like the clickiness, of course, but one of his favorites is being able to control the volume here, and then this is a play pause.
I think this is mute. This is what I use for play pause, and then these are the skip buttons. Whenever I use the keyboard at work, my hand reaches up to here, and then I'm like, oh crap, I don't have that.
This volume here he really likes, and this is the play pause, this is back and forth, this is mute. He really likes it. I can also speak to having the Razer Black Widow V3. It has the rollerball, which I like better than this one, but I do like this. He's mentioning that when he's at his job, he will phantom reach for the volume control there. It's not there. I know, like, same experience. I do that whenever I use a keyboard that's not mine. So nothing but positives. You have no desire to change it?
No, I like it, but I would say if you're a girl like with longer nails, I don't know how it is on other keyboards, but anytime mine get slightly too long, it's pretty uncomfortable with this keyboard.
So if you have long nails, you may not enjoy it. You leave it flat like this.
I don't even know if it elevates, but my wrist never hurts when I keep it like this.
So this is held up well. He's never taken this off. This stays up on. There's no damage to this whatsoever, and he is a monkey. So, animals are not great at taking care of stuff, but he has not broken it. And he breaks a lot of stuff. So that's saying something. I will say this part here, does this ever get uncomfortable on your wrist, the metal edge here?
Yes, sometimes it irritates you, like maybe in the winter when it's cold, but I think once you use it, you get used to it and kind of forget, but every once in a while I do get annoyed by it. So
I have the Razer Black Widow V3, and it is plastic and it's slanted downwards, and I wouldn't say it hurts because I'm very strong. Basically, solid rock is what my arms are made of. I can feel it when I use this keyboard. I wouldn't say it hurts or digs in or even uncomfortable, but it's noticeable. And that could just be doing from a different device, from one device to the other. This one is not slant. The one I have, it's also not dusted. The plastic one I have has a slant to it, but of course mine does not light up like his does, which I am envious of. All right, so let's take a look at Synapse now that we have a little bit of an idea of how to use this thing. I think when I unboxed it, I did not. All right, so you can see the keyboard is all lit up. That's the fire effect. And if we click on the actual keyboard, go to lighting, there's a bunch of pre-built ones, right? Breathing, it's just one color, it's all. Here's where you can see what I'm talking about. The really cool effect. That side light, yeah, it's very cool. And that's the part that I kind of get jealous of when I see his keyboard lighting up like that. Yeah, so there's the breathing, just a straight up green color. Outside of breathing, we have fire, which is what I had on at first. That's what he usually defaults to, is fire. It does look really good when you have all these lit up. And if you go from fire, you also have reactive. So there, it just lights up the color that you press. All right, and then from reactive, we go to ripple. The ripple effect is very cool. If you just press a button, you see it ripples through there. So it's pretty neat, especially if you're typing, but then it can also be kind of bright. You can change the color of that, right, if you want to have it multiple colors, or I think you can do multiple colors. And then we go ripple spectrum cycling. Of course, that's what almost every RGB type keyboard has. And I almost default to this. I usually stick to this. He sticks to fire, but I usually stick to spectrum cycling, although lately I've been using the Razer Axum and I like that a lot. Starlight, so that's very cool. Like it twinkles. We only got one color in there. Let me turn another color on. Let's make it blue and then make the first one like a pink color. Yeah, so that is very cool right there. Outside of Starlight, of course, you got static. You can just have it one solid color. It's fairly boring. Wave, which is obviously pretty cool. Now this looks a lot better. With that ring around it, it looks cooler than my keyboard. So I'm a little jealous of that. But I do find the Razer Wave to be very fast. On Alienware, they had a slower wave, and I liked it better. You can change that in Studio, of course, but as far as just the default effects, you can't. And you go backwards, right? If you want to go the other way, you can see the wave is now coming from right to left. And then, of course, you have the wheel effect, which is also very cool. Again, also very fast. I think if this was slowed down, it's going to look a lot better, in my opinion. And that's all the built-in effects. Of course, if you want to customize it, you can do anything to your keys, of course. It has some defaults, but let's say you wanted to make the F9 key something, you just choose any of these options you want, and you can set it to, like, for example, you can set it to alphanumeric, choose a letter, so F9 would then be the A button every time, right? Or you could record a sequence to press to it, or you can make it a mouse function. So like every time you put F9 to be a left click. Like I said, what I like to do is Windows shortcuts, launch calculator, launch notepad, things like that. That's what I find functional because I'm not gaming with my keyboard, but of course, you can do audio mixer if you're playing music, then it would respond to the music. I don't have any music playing right now though. All right, and as cool as it is in this mode by itself, it is pretty fresh to have it by itself. Once the way the Razer products really shine, in my opinion, is if you have a really beefed up Razer ecosystem, which we do. And so we can sync all the lights together. It is pretty neat. Let me get all that set up and then we'll check that out too. All right, so here's the monitor. There is something I wanted to show that I didn't. I don't know, we got a good look at how well these buttons light up. It is pretty cool how that little circle guy works. And then of course you can see when I change the volume wheel, it makes the volume on the computer go up and down. So that's pretty nice. All right, so we're gonna talk to the boy who uses the keyboard. Keep in mind, when he was younger.
Have you ever dropped a baby?
The boy has some thoughts about the keyboard. Again, he's used it for, I forget, a year, 2 years, whatever, however long we had it, he's been using it the whole time, so.
This keyboard was my first ever mechanical keyboard. It's way better than the normal membrane keyboards. I basically just use it for basic tasks like just typing and stuff like that. I don't do work on it. At one point, I did play games like mouse and keyboard style games, and I had no problems with it. The keyboard itself was good. It was just more so problems with me preferring controller. If I did have any minuscule complaints about the keyboard, it would be that maybe the wrist rest, if you're not used to it, there is like a metal frame around it.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning yesterday, that whenever my wrist touch it, you notice it. I wouldn't say it hurts, but again, if you're familiar with X-Men, Colossus, that's kind of what my skin is like. Boy's softer, kind of like the Blob more so than Colossus, if you're X-Men conversation.
But yeah, it's not uncomfortable. It doesn't hurt you or anything like that. It's just might take you like a week or two to get used to whenever you first get the keyboard. If it's like super cold where you're at, then maybe it can get cold, but nothing crazy.
As I told the good people, you are a college student and you take Python courses, programming courses, and you use this keyboard for programming.
Yeah.
Same monitor, mouse, all that is for programming.
I think that with Razer Synapse, you could set up macros.
So you could set a macro here, like for programming, you could potentially program something potentially, right?
So you could use that for programming, or if you're a big cheater, you can use that in games. And then obviously all the volume control stuff is the best part of the keyboard.
Yeah, he loves the volume control. Same thing I said, that he Phantom reaches for it when you're using a different keyboard that's not there. All right, so here we are with the full setup. Now, in case you think this sounds familiar, I'm using this portion of the video on multiple different Razer product clips. I might tweak it from here to there on each one. But it's also a good idea to subscribe if you're watching this one. You know why? Because all these products I've had for a very long time. A lot of these things I've made videos. That HyperX, so on the far right corner there's the HyperX. I made a video on that very long time ago. Of course, in this video series, we have the Razer Raptor monitor, the Nommo Chroma speakers, the Basilisk Ultimate mouse, and the wireless charging dock for the mouse, the Firefly V2 mouse pad, and the Huntsman Elite controller. Over here that doesn't play nice with the colors is the Razer Wolverine V2 Chroma and Pokémon Special Edition OLED switch dock. And of course our little bobblehead Snicky Snick. And down below, the desk itself is a Husky desk, which I made a video on a very long time ago. Well, here is the UPS that I made a video on. Here, I don't know if it's gonna show on camera, but this is all being powered off of my Dell XPS A950 that I made videos on previously. So the point of that is, I'm not one of these YouTube guys that just buys products to make videos on and gets rid of them. These are things I actually use and I've had for a very long time. A lot of this stuff is 2 years old or approaching the 2-year mark. So we're talking about in-depth use cases. You know, I'm not one of these guys that has a brand new laptop every week.
Hi, this is David at Mash IT.
So here you can see all the products together. This is what I was mentioning before. It's very nice to see them all together and it looks pretty cool. Like I said, the mouse dock doesn't play nice color-wise and neither does the controller, but everything else is doing the wave, which is pretty cool. Let me show you that you can do a little bit of everything. So let's go lighting and then we'll choose breathing. We'll do our colors again. Blue and red and apply it to everything. Now everything should be blue and red, including the dock over there is breathing, right? So some of them, all of them can do, and some of them, all of them can't. And then fire, this is what the boy usually uses for his setup. Razer has that button, which a lot of people don't have. See, here's where it gets a little bit wonky, where some things don't have fire. Only the keyboard and the monitor are doing fire right now. Spectrum cycling, everyone should have that, so they should all link up nice and easy here. And then Starlight, I think they all have that as well, maybe? Or no, not all of them. For static, everyone should have static. We should be able to go all green for everyone, no problem. And then the wave, of course, we were already doing, but you can see here. So what I'm gonna do now is turn the lights off so you get a better idea and show you some cool features and hopefully no one gets scared. All right, so there you can see how cool everything looks. So let's go to Razer Studio, and here's where I said you can make an edit. So you click on everything, and now you can change this to fire. Now everything is fire. If I hit save, everything should be fire. See, now previously all of them didn't have fire, but now they're all doing fire, which is pretty cool.
I like that.
If I hit here and check everything and I change this to breathing, and then again, I change the color, I'll do red, and we'll change the second color to green. I'll save it. Now everything will be red, green. So you can see how cool this looks. Even the dock, like I said, the dock was limited on its features, but it works. Same thing here, right? Make sure every time you hit everything, and then we change this to reactive, and then we save it. So now it's reactive. So the reactive is not very cool for everything. So don't use reactive for everything unless you want really basic stuff. Ripple's what I was thinking of. Yeah, Ripple is gonna be cool. That single light there on the keyboard currently is the numbers lock. So there you go. So now that is cool, right? So it goes through everything. It's not quite lined up because we haven't organized everything. But if you notice on here, you can move these things around. If you rearranged everything in Synapse, you can make it pretty cool. You see how it's going through on Synapse there. All right, and that's the ripple effect. And then of course we go spectrum cycling. So you can do that without the studio version, but it is nice to have everything lined up correctly, including the mouse. Starlight, I think is really cool. So that's showing a bunch of different colors. You can edit that, of course, like I showed you previously, to change the different color variants, but this predefined one is very cool. I like it. It's a nice, relaxing way to have your system set up. Like if you're not really too involved, you can have this just playing in the background. It's nice in a dark room. It's kind of cool looking. Static is nothing, you know, obviously we know how everything can do static. You can change the color, but again, static is pretty boring. Wave. So this is another one where if you rearrange these things on the desk, like for example, here's the monitor. There you go. I can move monitor here, move the keyboard here, speaker here, Speaker here, mouse here. Now the wave is a little more aligned. I don't know if you can tell that, but it is nice how that works. And then let's do the wheel effect. Wheel, and save that. So you can sort of tell the wheel's not as impactful. I prefer wave over wheel. But here's where I think ripple is gonna be cool. And if I hit this button, that's pretty good, right? Yes, I like that. Like I said, the board uses fire the most. And of course, like I said, if you use the music, you can get the audio responses, but I don't want to set it up right now. It's nighttime, people sleeping. So yeah, Fire is pretty cool with all these setup as well. Let's get the lights back on. All right, so there it is, the setup for all these devices together. We do like each of these individual devices, but with Razer, it's pretty nice when you can get everything all together on one.